Holy crap. That was crazy. I still can't believe that game started off 2-2. And through the first 5 minutes or so, it was still 2-2. It took 3 minutes and change for Duke to score, and they still put up 93 points. It's just an unbelievable display of offense in the second half. And in the first half, I really felt like just an incredible will, determination, and fight, because it was a very physical game in the first first half, really. And then once Duke started to get some separation, the physicality from Wake Forest seemed to wane. And then it just became, among other things, the Cooper Flagg show, then Con Knipple, then Mason Gillis. But it was just an awesome effort and a great way for Cooper Flagg to go out on senior night with his last game at Cameron. And they played so well that Spencer Hubbard and Neil Begovich and Borden got a chance to be on the court for senior night.
I couldn't be more excited. It was senior night. I always get a little sad about, that's the last home game at Cameron, but I know you're going to get to the medals. I think among the possible candidates for the medals were the Cameron Crazies. I love that row of young women in the front row who all came dressed with their hair in curlers. I mean, everybody came out for this game. It was just so much. It was so much fun. But to your point, there was that stretch there where they, in the first couple of minutes, they went 3 minutes without scoring, and they finished with 93. In the second half, it's 40-27 at halftime, and Wake goes on a little run, closes it to a 7-point game, 42-35, and then Duke beat down. I don't even know what the annihilation. I don't know what it is, but then they outscored them for the duration of the second half, 49-16. It's just crazy numbers. And I was just gonna say, and yet there was another game that I said, well, Wake, they got to come in here. This is an important game. They took the lead in the second half last time. Not in our house. Not in our house. And I didn't see this coming.
No, and to your point, this is a channel where we admit where we have things wrong or had things wrong. We were really far off on the score on this one. Thought it'd be a lower scoring game. And I guess we were right on the Wake Forest side of things. We were close, but we were completely wrong with Duke. And the funny part is, it looked like we were going to be right. 5 minutes into the game, only 2 points. Wake Forest was doing what they needed to do, playing at a slow tempo, being very physical, making things difficult for Cooper Flagg. They kind of showed, what the recipe has, at least people have thought, has been, especially since that Clemson loss. And then Duke, they start off 0 for 5 from the field. Con Knipple hits a mid-range shot, which was the first bucket, gets it, 2-2. And then they come back from that first segment, from that TV timeout. And they had a little bit of a different energy. And part of that, Gongba and Evans come in. And there was a sequence where Flagg gets a steal. K2 leads the break, and he hits Sion, who I really felt like, it hasn't been too far. We were only, about 5 minutes in to our live stream here. But Sion James was great to start this game with his defense, his shot making. There's a number of plays that I highlighted in my notes. Uh, One was kind of funny in that at the end of that first segment, the ref was making a foul call and he went like this and he hit Sion right in the face. But the reason I was gonna go to my notes is how I know they called it a foul. I don't think it was a foul. The block that Sion had on Efton Reed was insane. He's 6'6". He went up and he met him at the apex. I know maybe there was some contact on the body.
Got a little bit on the hand and then a little bit on the body, so that
I didn't like it.
The work. Oh, it was an amazing challenge by Sion James, but as a foul call, I really wasn't that upset. But wait, I want to just go back to the first half because given the enormity of the win, it's not just the first segment, it's at the end of the second segment, so we're in between the second and third, so like there's, I want to say we're almost down to 10 and a half minutes. The score is 14-13 because Salas scored again. It was 14-11, so then it was 14-13. And that's what about 10 minutes into the game. And it was, so you thought it was going to be, a real knockdown, drag out game. And then that's not what happened.
No. And just before that, Evans hit a 3 when he came in. I thought that was important because the way that Duke started, it was good to have Evans come in and just bring his energy, his willingness, as we all know, to shoot the ball will never stop. I think if Isaiah Evans is 0 for 10, he will not hesitate on the 11th shot. And that's my favorite part about Isaiah Evans. And he came in, he also hit a nice drive for 2.
That was, I thought his quick 5 points there were very important, but it still was a close game.
It still was. Like you said, it really wasn't until after that where Duke started to get a little bit of separation. At the end of I think it's the third segment, I have it as 24-15 Duke. They started to get, a little bit more flow going on the offensive end. And that was because they were generating some turnovers. They're able to get out in transition. Against Wake's half-court defense, especially in the first half, they were having some difficulty getting good shots. But as it went on, Duke, clearly was able to find another gear. And the person who found another gear was Cooper Flagg.
Like how you go and you shift, that you go from, you go up a gear one at a time. Coop went up like, I'm going from drive to, I'm skipping everything in between. I'm just taking this over. And it was really amazing. I thought one of the things he does that he understands so well is, especially when they were double teaming and even sometimes sending a third guy, when he started to rotate back in as if he was going to go to the basket, he picks the ball up and has this uncanny ability to know. And 3 times, I think the recipient of that, and he scored, he missed a couple, was Sion James. I think that's his favorite go-to guy because he draws all the defense to him. He has a lot of confidence that if he dumps it off, I think if we go back, we'll find lots of these times when Coop is looking for Sion open on one of the wings. And
he has the tendency to find Sion for 3. And then he also, Khan does it really well too. And Sion, but I feel like the Cooper to Kaman alley-oop connection, it produces the biggest highlights. But Khan found him in the second half for a nice oop. I just want to go through because you mentioned how before it's what was 40-27 at the half. Wake Forest goes on a quick 6-0 run. And it was the exact same thing almost as the first Wake Forest game. Duke in that game, 13-point lead at the half, 35-22. And then Wake Forest starts the second half with a 17-1 run, which gave them the lead. It seemed like Wake Forest might be able to win.
Not 17-1, 7-1.
No. This is the first game. I'm talking about the first
game. Right, yeah, okay. Right, okay.
And then what happened was between Mason Gillis and Cooper Flagg, they were able to settle down Duke and get going. And Cooper, had some important buckets in that first game. Today, Cooper did not wait around for that to turn into a 17-1 run. He stopped it at 6-0 with a personal 7, I think it was, well, he had 7 straight points. It was an offensive rebound, reverse layup. Then he hit the nice, fadeaway jumper over Spillers. Then he hit the one dribble pull-up going to his left. And the other thing about Cooper, he might be right-handed, but it seems like every time he's going left, he finishes with his left hand incredibly well. He likes to go to that one dribble pull-up to the left. It's like I almost feel like you want him to go right because he seems more comfortable going left.
Well, it was funny because they made a point, the announcers, of saying that when they were talking to Coach Steve Forbes says, we're going to make him go to his weak side. We're going to make him go to his left. And the announcer said, I don't know if that's a really good idea. I mean, I don't know that he has a weak side. Boy, I'm going back and I'm quickly going through the greats. If he's going, yes, it appears as if he favors his right hand. I have no problem when he's going to his left.
I don't even know if that's true. I mean, I would love to see the numbers. I'm sure there's some site you could probably pay for and figure that out. But in my mind, it's like every time he goes to the rim, unless it's a dunk, he finishes with his left hand. And he's just so he has, and then he also had one where he got fouled where it was like wasn't a floater, but kind of like a push shot with that left hand from about 6 to 8 feet, and then he converted. He's just really comfortable using his left hand, which makes guarding him a nightmare. Because what do? You send a double team, as you said. He kicks out, he finds Sion or Khan or Tyrese. You don't send a double team, he's probably going to beat you off the dribble, and then your big guy has to step up. He finds Kaman, for a dump-off pass or an alley-oop. He's just such a nightmare matchup unless you have a 6'7", 6'6", maybe 6'8" guy who's a strong, really athletic defender who might be able to slow him down one-on-one. And Spillers in the first matchup did a better job, but today, Cooper was too much. And you said something in our preview. You said, while it might be the same two teams, how much better is Duke now than they were when they played the first time? And I went back through, they were on a 12-game winning streak. They had beat a bunch of teams by 20-plus points. But I think you're spot on. Like, it is a totally different Duke team than that first matchup. And the way they responded to the physicality in the first half and the way they responded to the start that Wake Forest had in the second half really shows the toughness and the resiliency that they've been able to develop, since that Clemson loss. They've just been at a whole nother level.
So one of the other things was as the game went on and I was, just sort of watching the TV and I'm going, okay, there's the starting lineup. It's Mal, it's Coop, it's Khan, it's Sion and Evans. And I said, wait a minute. That's not Evans. That's Proctor. And so Proctor is playing, I sort of feel as if you could definitely sense he was not 100%, but there was no way he was going to miss what potentially could be his last game at he wasn't going to miss it, and he wanted to play in that game. And that revealed to us that I think, as you often point out, that by the time you get to the ACC tournament and March Madness, you're going to cut it down to an 8-man rotation. In which case, I think it's clear, and we mentioned it in the pregame, that Foster is gone from the rotation.
He is. I want to say something really positive though about Foster. He was the only guy to not see playing time today. You know, Shire cleared out the bench. And a lot of guys, you know, especially somebody who started the year as a starter and saw his minutes decline, even though the team is obviously really connected and positive, a lot of guys, 90% of guys, would be at the end of the bench, you know, maybe a clap, right? But, you know, in their own head, probably a bit depressed. And I can't say I saw Foster the whole game. But at the end of the game, Neil Begovic hits, you know, he has that step through layup, and the whole bench is up, and they have their left hand, right? And so is Caleb Foster, and he's celebrating, he's doing this, right? I think that says a lot about Caleb Foster, the person. Well, he certainly had a tough year, Caleb Foster, the player. I think that really says a lot about him as a person, that he's not sulking. He's not upset that he didn't get to play in this game. He's celebrating with the rest of the team. And so, you know, on a day where we're celebrating Duke, and you're right, he's probably not going to be part of the rotation moving forward. I think I want to give him credit for him being just a great teammate from what we could see.
I think two things could be true at the same time. I think that is great, but the decline of Caleb Foster is a storyline of this Duke team. In which case, do I think that Caleb is going in the transfer portal to try to find a team?
Wait. Not today. We've got the end of the season. You want to talk about transfer portal? Not now. We're not after we just beat Wake Forest by 33 points and put up 53. We're not going there. Not today. All right? Okay.
Hey, you brought up Caleb and said what a great guy, and I said
no.
He is.
You brought up Caleb. I was trying to defend him. You brought up he's not part of the rotation. I'm just trying to give him. We've spent enough time on that throughout our season.